Let me move on to Kentucky politics, something I'm sure you're thinking a lot about this week. This is the race that you've been engaged in, the Senate primary between the Secretary of State of Kentucky, and that, of course, is Trey Grayson, against Rand Paul, who's got support from Sarah Palin and from the Tea Party movement. And right now, Senator, as you know, it is Rand Paul's to lose. He's up double digits. And the Washington Post had this headline this past week, and that is the old Kentucky reign. Who will join McConnell in the Senate depends on how much voters like McConnell. You have really put yourself out on a limb in this race, and the voters appear to be rejecting that. Is this a referendum on you and the establishment Republican Party?
Well, it reminds me of when the president went into Massachusetts, a state he carried by 26 points, and tried to elect the candidate running against Scott Brown. I don't think anybody seriously thinks the president won't carry Massachusetts next time. This is a race between two non-incumbents. There's been a lot of discussion about incumbency. We'll find out maybe something about incumbency Tuesday in Arkansas and Pennsylvania, where we have two Democratic incumbents in serious races. We don't have incumbency on the line in Kentucky. We have two non-incumbents running for an open seat. One of our senators is supporting one candidate. One is supporting the other candidate. Whichever one ends up running the best race, I guess, will be the nominee. But most importantly, in terms of the Kentucky scene, we will have a unity rally at the state party headquarters on next Saturday to get behind the winner and win in November.
You're not going to be in Kentucky on election night, are you?
Well, the Senate is in session on Tuesday, but I'll be at state headquarters next Saturday with the winner, and we'll all lock arms and go out and win in November.
But you're suggesting that your efforts to help Trey Grayson have not paid off. You expect Rand Paul to win?
No, I don't know who's going to win. I hope it will help. I think Trey Grayson would be a stronger candidate in November, but I expect Kentucky's going to be in a pretty Republican mood this fall. And I'm optimistic that whoever wins the primary will be the next senator from Kentucky.
What does it say, though, about the strength of the Tea Party movement? However large and vast that movement is, it certainly has been in evidence in the support for Rand Paul.
Yeah, I think so, and it's an important movement in the country, and I think it's going to really help us in November.
President Obama has made the point and begun to frame the argument for the midterm race, and he did it at a campaign event the other night about how Republicans will have to hear from Democrats, how Democrats will run in the fall. This is what he said.
So after they drove the car into the ditch, made it as difficult as possible for us to pull it back, now they want the keys back. No. You can't drive. We don't want to have to go back into the ditch. We just got the car out. We just got the car out.
How do you respond to that?
Sounds like he wants to run against George Bush one more time, doesn't it? I mean, look, the administration's, the American people are taking a look at what this administration's done. They're running banks, insurance companies, car companies. They nationalized the student loan business, which will kill 31,000 private sector jobs. They've taken over health care. They're about to do to financial services what they did to health care. Their appointees over at the FCC are trying to take over the Internet. They've doubled the national debt will double the national debt in the next 5 years, triple it in 10. The American people are appalled by this. And in your own NBC Wall Street Journal poll, Peter Hart, the Democratic pollster who participates in that, and I'm paraphrasing, basically said the American people have made up their mind, and it will be very, very hard for the Democrats to change their mind. We're looking at a mid-course correction here. We'd like to see the president be the moderate he campaigned as, and I think the only way that's going to happen is if the American people send us more Republicans in the House and Senate to move this administration back to the middle, and what I hope is the last 2 years of its only term.
Before you go, Senator McConnell, if the economy continues to produce jobs, 573,000 between January and April, it's a projected 1.72 million jobs created over a full year. If that happens, do you think President Obama deserves credit?
What we know right now is there have been 3,000 private sector jobs lost since the president came to office. We know they've added 260,000 government jobs. We know the only boomtown in America is Washington because they're exploding government employment, hiring new government workers by borrowing money from our grandchildren. That isn't likely to change by November. I hope the economy is beginning to come back, but it'd have to come back a long way for anybody to believe the stimulus plan, which was sold to us to keep unemployment at 8%, has worked. Unemployment is at 10%. We're not making a whole lot of headway so far.
Leader McConnell, we'll leave it there. Thank you very much.
Thank you.